June 30th?
This is the
So
first
at our
reading.
next council meeting, we may very hopefully, we will have all 7 of us here. And, so we will, this will not be our only opportunity to talk amongst ourselves in this matter, right?
That's correct.
Are there any other points, Susie, points well taken, I appreciate that, Mr. Webb?
I would hope, like I said, when we make the motion at the next meeting,
Yes,
to pass this.
this is one that I'm gonna read, provide the first reading of this, adopting ordinance in just a moment.
Yeah.
But before I do that, and before we move on, I don't wanna belabor the point here, but I wanna make sure that we give the planning department in particular, any heads up here before we reconvene.
Right, and I would hope that, like I said, when the agenda for next, meeting happens, if we can put in there a plan on how we're going to revisit all of these sections for everybody. I think it would be, at least we know that things will really get revisited.
Mr. Mayor, you asked, there were other questions, and you never got to
I'm
the
gonna do
questions.
it again, I'm not done yet.
Okay, good.
I think I'm gonna do it again right now.
Okay,
I was going to do it right.
okay, thank you.
But I just wanted, any other questions, any other parts of this document? We certainly talked, vigorously about this section. Mr. Collins.
I wanted to go back to comments we received tonight from Mr. Corson and Ms. Murray. One of the things the Growth Management Act says is that we should have early and continuous public comment. And I think normally we would have a public hearing at the city council level on comprehensive plan adoption. I think we've done that in the past. I think that given the extraordinary amount of public participation in the process so far, I think it was reasonable that we didn't have a public hearing. But I'm not opposed to the public hearing, and we could probably still have a public hearing at the next meeting if people felt that would help them make their comments. It was a new policy regarding military residence. What was military?
Yes, Ann talked about the language, I'm not sure what page was she reading?
Who is that? I
I wrote it down, hold on.
There was specific language about encouraging military presence.
It was in the economic development section, which is near the end. It's
If you look on
G
page
141.
G141, under economic development element, the item mentioned was new policy number 20.
Right. And I wanted to recognize that we have had a very long relationship, very positive relationship in the community with the Coast Guard. And frankly, we've had a long positive relationship with the Navy. If you go back to the early days of Port Angeles, the Pacific Fleet used to park out here. This is where Admiral Beardsley went and caught his famous trout in Lake Crescent. So I think the statement is broad. I know there are issues relative to U.S. Armed Forces, but I don't believe there are issues with the Coast Guard, and it seems appropriate the Navy might want to use the Port Angeles Harbor. So I don't know if there's a way to refine that and make it a little less broad. Doesn't include airplanes or something.
Right, the testing, I think that's.
Right, but, as you already pointed out, it's somewhat ambiguous. It doesn't specify one way or the other, but I believe that it's not a bad statement. We may want to refine it some. And then regarding Mr. Corson's comments on the industrial park and its relationship to surrounding residential areas, those usually fall more into the development regulation category rather than in the policy category of noise levels and hours of activity. We have had, the old Rainier Mill site was surrounded by residential. I mean, all of our industrial areas are relatively close to residential areas. And I know Mr. Corson has been, I've seen his communications, he's been consistent in requesting we do something about it. There are a lot of requests that were made or suggestions that were made, and they're not all found in the comprehensive plan and policies. But I think we need to have staff communicate with Mr. Corson about what is reasonable in terms of regulation versus what we would see in a comprehensive plan policy. And then when it comes to suggestions that I don't see in the new policies, the one that is most important to me is that we had the EIA design study done a few years ago. And part of that design study recommended that we make First Street a two-way street in the main street of town, and we create, get away from the one-way couplet, and that we make Front Street more of a access to the hospital district and a quiet route into downtown. If you're actually going to the waterfront, you can always switch over there at any point. But I really think that that's important to the future vision of the community, to create more of a main street. I think that the corner at Race and First Street could be a second node of downtown for the city, where the old town, it's hard to build anything new down there, but we've seen some significant development along the Race and First and Front Street intersections, both commercial and for the hospital. And so I'd like to see some kind of future statement moving, this requires a state law too, or maybe even the US law, to make Highway 101 on First Street only and not on Front Street. We've had more development on Front Street than we have on First Street. We still have a lot of vacant properties where the old grocery store used to be. And the entire time I've been here, nothing has happened on that site. And I don't think we need a lot of parking along First Street. Most of businesses all have their own parking off the street. And so you could make it a 5-lane road with 2 lanes going each way and a center turn lane and not have parking on it. It would be more like a main street, in my opinion. So I'd like to see us incorporate some kind of general policy regarding what AIA recommended. And if that could be added before our meeting on June 21st, that'd be great. If it's something that we throw into the hopper for next year, I'm okay with that too. I don't think it has to happen immediately. But it's something that I think should have been given a little more credence. And it may, in fact, something like that may affect how we view the alternate cross-town route too. I mean, as long as we're going to be thinking about that. So, anyways, that's one thing that's not in this current document, but I'm happy to.
Mr. Mayor, I apologize for the interruption, but I do want to clarify that is actually in the document.